You're listening to 89.9 FM New York, WKCR. It's Arts and Answers. I'm Chaim Lazaros. The film is Zero Motivation. Director is Talya, Lavie. And I'm with the star, the actress, Dana, Igvy. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
So, Talya, I'm going to turn it to you first. And if you can just give kind of a brief synopsis, what is Zero Motivation about?
So Zero Motivation is a dark comedy about female soldiers in the Israeli army that work as secretaries in an office in the Israeli desert, in a very desolated base. That's the synopsis in one line.
And obviously some sort of drama ensues. Who are these characters, and what is their attitude towards being in the Israeli army?
Well, first, the characters are obligated to be in the Israeli army because the military service is mandatory in Israel. So they are there for 2 years. And they put them in this specific office, administration office, to be secretaries. And you have the commander, the officer there, and you have the soldiers, the secretaries. And basically, the idea of the film is that it takes elements from the classic army movies genre and use it to tell an army story, but it all happens in an office where the biggest danger of the character is a paper cut.
Mm-hmm. And Dana, your character is Zohar. So tell me a little bit about this character. What is her attitude? How is she adjusting to the army?
Well, I think I would describe Zohar as, well, she's the person that the army definitely wouldn't want, but in a way she's classic for it, because for her to be in a set of rules that she can rebel against is ideal, I think, and that's what she basically does during the film. I don't want to give any spoilers, but
now
I don't want to brag, but yeah. Dana won Best Actress Israeli Academy Award for the role of Zohar. Just saying.
That's definitely a good piece of information for our audience to know. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This character, I know you were in the army in some sort of administrative position. Is this character at all based on your time there and your experiences?
Some of it is based on my experience, some of it based on... this experience is very common in Israel. There are a lot of women that's what they do in the army. Of course, there are women that are combat and pilots and stuff like that, but there's a major group of women that are secretaries. So it is very authentic, what you see there, even though it's also surrealistic, as you probably saw. So yeah, it's very much based... this film is not autobiographical, but it's very personal. So I'm very attached to Zohar character and to all characters.
And Academy Award-winning actress Dana. This character, were a few questions. Were you in the army? If so, what position did you serve? What did you take from your life or from Talya's life to become this character of Zohar?
Well, I definitely took a lot from Talya's life, and not only from a lot of people's experience, because my army service was actually on film, I'd say, more than in real life.
How do you mean by that?
I mean that I didn't do it.
Okay.
But I'm close to 2 years, I think, in cinema service.
Yeah.
And like being a soldier on films, I think I'll have the full service soon. And we did a lot of research, regardless, I think even other actors that did do the army, we all did research about this certain specific jobs and our soldiers. We watched films. We got a lot of inspiration from... Also, Talya had this thing for us that was stories of soldiers that she had collected, and a lot of inspiration that she had for writing, and we could read it, which was great.
And also they don't necessarily need the army inspiration. They bring everything from themselves as human, because it's not, the film takes place in an army base, but it's not about the army. It's about people. It's about young women. It's about coming of age, and about being very unimportant in a big system. So they can all relate to it from their own personal experience.
To give a little background to the American audience, obviously we have an army, but we don't have mandatory draft like in Israel. So maybe you can give a little bit of a background of the culture in Israel, of how people see the army. Give us a little bit of background how the Israeli army is perceived by Israelis, young Israelis in Israel.
So first, the Israeli army, since it's mandatory for so many years in Israel, it's a major part of Israeli culture, and it's a major part of Israeli society. So we don't see it as you may see it from the outside. It has many parts to the army. Obviously, there's the combat part, and the part that you see more on the news. And this film is about the administration part of it. And not only administration, it's like the very far away administration that you can imagine. It's not like the main offices in Tel Aviv. It's a very deserted office. And in a way, you can see that the army can be sometimes like a microcosmos to Israeli society. And we try to do in this film to show this one office, and through this one office you get to see a window to Israeli life, to Israeli society. Each girl in the office comes from different background in Israel, and also, so like I said, it's part of our culture. We have a lot of materials, artistic, films, television, stories, stuff like that about the army. In a way, for us, it's like college for Americans, because we all go there, most of us.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of we all go there, most of us, mandatory, Dana, I'm going to put you on the spot. How did you not go to the army?
Oh, they didn't want me.
Why didn't they want you?
They made a mistake.
Yeah, see, they should have. No, I mean, let's not get into too much details, but for girls, actually, like you see in the film, a lot of them, some girls do really great things in the army and have great jobs, and some of them can even be pilots or, have really important roles. And some can be, there's really many great things to do, but I think, like Talya said, the majority of girls actually make coffee still. And so there's also a lot of girls that they sometimes let go because there's not really need for all this, I guess, manpower, you call it, or... And that's how it got...
Sometimes they have in certain years they have like too many girls that are supposed to get drafted, and
like
sometimes so, and then some girls are lucky and or unlucky, it depends on how they feel, and sometimes it's like very easy, like for people that have like for women, if they are underweight or something like that, or if they are religious, or so it's easier for them to get out of this obligation.
Or if they go to special school like I did, and they're afraid that they'll give them trouble, or
And there's also, I mean, it's not so much related to the film, but there's also, I think it's called Shirat Leumi, which is like a national service.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that is what exactly?
Well, that's something mostly religious girls doing. They don't go to the army, some of them, and they do Shirut Leumi, which means national service for 1 year. I actually don't know much about it.
It could be anything. It could be anything that sometimes they work in as guides. In boarding schools. Sometimes they help old people. Sometimes there's a lot of things that just give community service that.
I guess it's very interesting there, but since I was in the army, I made a movie about the army, not about the national service.
But everyone has to do this thing after high school where they become part of the system. They get involved with the government, in some way, and they have to do the army, do a service. And I guess a lot of relationships and friendships are made through this, and that's why it's a big part of the culture.
It's a big part of the culture. I think it's bigger than relationship and friendship because and that's why it has such a big effect on Israeli society because it's very effective on politics. So a lot of time people who have like major roles in politics came from having high rank in the army. It's I cannot describe how big this institute is in Israel.
It's the biggest.
Yeah.
It's the biggest, and also some people can really learn amazing things in the army, like flying a plane or like running things in a very high level,
Predicting the weather.
Yeah.
Sure, everything, electrical engineering, everything.
Yeah, there's even like a music section, a film section, theater section, and there's everything. It's like they have it all. They don't need anything from the outside.
Dana, how did you come to this role? How did you come to be involved in this film, and why did you choose this character?
Well, I didn't really choose. I mean, I acted in Talya's film when she was a student almost 10 years ago.
The Substitute?
The Substitute. And we really loved working together, and it was an amazing experience for me. And when she showed me her script almost 3 years before we actually started shooting, she said she just wanted me to look at it also as a friend, and she said, I thought of you for the role of the commander because 10 years went by and you're older now and you can't be 18 anymore, and I think it will be interesting. And then when we tried it out, like Talya said, you can say.
I think, Dana Igvy is an actress that can really do everything. She can do everything, but she's not an officer. She's you look at her, she's a very rebellious person. So it was clear that she needs to be Zohar.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I think they thought that I didn't change at all during those 10 years, which was lucky. Yeah. So then I could do it, and
she actually changed. She looks younger. She's a medical miracle, Dana.
Like Benjamin Button.
And also, yes, in a way. And also when the casting was a long process, and eventually when it was clear that when Dana did Zohar, that the part was written for her. That's how it felt.
Yeah, it seems to me, when you say she was considered for the commander role, it seems crazy to me. It seems obvious that she is for the Zohar character.
Yeah, but it's interesting though. Yeah. When you see the commander and you see me, it's like I'm actually flattered that she thought that that she wanted me to do some work and work on a character, and I actually really wanted to do it as well. But then I agree, when we tried out Zohar, it was so natural, and we were all relieved that we don't have to try as hard and release this commander thing.
Talya, one thing I really like about the film, I find very refreshing, is that, the army especially, and most movies, I'd say, it's really a boys' club and a men's club. And this is totally from a woman's perspective. All the characters, the main characters with any importance, are women. And men are almost like periphery, almost like secondary objects. Sometimes how you'd see women treated in a more male-centric film. Was that, on purpose to be so, such a female eye, or it's just you're female and you have an eye and you tell a female story? I wonder your thoughts about the specific female perspective of the film.
Okay. So first, thank you for what you said. Very happy to hear that. And the simple thing is that it's not that I, wanted to have some kind of a strong agenda, and it's very simple. I made a movie that I want to see. I made a movie that I wanted to see. That's it.
And so when you do see men in the film, let's say you have so I'll go from the beginning.
The base commander.
Base commanders who the girls to them are nothing. Maybe they stare at their butt, and they're just an object.
There's the guy who Zohar's in love with, and there's the guy she goes on a date with, and there's the guy who works as a computer officer, and there are some guys in the film, but it's true that for some people it seems strange to them but it's only because they're not used to see men in supporting roles only. But to me, it feels natural.
Yeah. Also, what's so interesting and natural about it that Talya's, usually when you see army films, there's the secretary that comes in for a second and brings in coffee, and there's maybe this girl that does phone things for the men, but she just pans the camera to the other direction, and naturally, so these men that fight or that do all these things that you usually see are only small characters in this film, because it's just the whole perspective is just different. It looks at the place that you don't usually look at. So, and also, the army is very divided to boys and girls. It's very you don't mix. There's different, like a different house for girls and boys, and it's very divided as it is. So because she decided to look at this majority this time, that's just the way it is.
I have a friend who once visited Australia, and I've never been to Australia, but he said he saw the map of the world hanging on some wall there, and the map seemed weird to him, and it didn't seem like the map of the world that we usually see. And then he realized why it's weird, because Australia was in the middle. And then he thought, well, maybe it is normal because for them they are in the middle. So in a way, that's what happens in this movie. You have a situation of an army base, and it's very clear who are the important people there and who are the unimportant people there. And we're taking the camera to see the unimportant people, and they are the center of this film.
Speaking about co-ed army, I mean, I've never been in the army, but it does seem when they're having meals that they're getting together. I mean, you see a girl sneaking into a guy's room. There's a scene there.
Yeah, but
I'm just wondering,
it's not allowed. It's not allowed to mix.
I think in college it's you have to sneak too, no? I mean, certain college or you had no problem to get in the girls' dorms, I see.
I mean, I was in a co-ed dorm, so
okay.
I couldn't tell you about that. But I mean, it seems like there's a lot of things maybe they can't really get away with in the real army. The way that they talk back to the commander and give him chutzpah.
Well, I mean, in this kind of that's also something that people ask me about. In this kind of units, that there is no distance between the commander and the soldier. That's what you mean, right? So in this kind of units, there is no distance. It exists more in basic training or in more combat units. And but I think all the girls they treat. They are respectful to the commander, except of Zohar, who is very disrespectful to her.
I wonder, so I don't really know Hebrew. I know a little bit here and there, and I'm able to pick up a few words, which, is the actual script and what the characters are saying on film, and then I'm reading the subtitles to actually understand the movie. I'm wondering about two questions. One is, what is the title of the film in Hebrew? And also, what are some sort of changes in the subtitles, things that may have been, a play on words in Hebrew that maybe wouldn't have translated? Is there anything kind of lost or different in the translation if, a person who doesn't speak Hebrew sees this movie and reads the English subtitles?
Well, I think the title of the film is the greatest example. Because in Hebrew, the title is Efes B'Yachasei Enosh, which means, if you translate it literally, directly, it means zero for human relations. And when we translate, the translator of the film is Natalie Feinstein, and I think she did a great job. She's very much into American culture. She's like a walking IMDb. She's seen every TV show and every American film, and she really likes the slang. So she found very good ways to translate it from Hebrew slang to American slang. Of course, many things are lost in translation, and also we didn't want to we didn't want we didn't want people to sit and read. We wanted them to see the film. So we tried to simplify the subtitles as much as we could. Also, you have to remember that it's translated to English, not necessarily for English speakers, so like for French people or we did a lot. The translation is an artistic part of the film making. It's not a technical part. And Zero Motivation felt that it brings the essence of the original title into English.
Right now, if you read the news about Israel, there's unfortunately some very bad, scary things happening. Just isolated incidents, but some bad news has been in the papers lately. This film, you don't hear the word Palestinians, you don't hear the word territories. The only time you hear the word war is when she's putting up posters of the wars from the past. This doesn't talk at all about terrorism or who the army is fighting or anything like that. Why was your decision to just focus on these simple office antics and to leave out the whole story of what the army is doing?
The story of what the army is doing is all the time in the background of this office, and the characters, the soldiers, keep hearing that they shouldn't deal with their stupid little wishes because there's a war outside. And what you say, that the things you hear on the news that happens in Israel, it happens all our lives. I mean, we don't know any other situation. We always feel that, we always get this feeling that there are more important things going on and we shouldn't complain about the little things. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's this film shows a very authentic view, I think, on Israeli society.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think the story of what the army is doing is told in quite a few films already.
Right. So this one is kind of just an easy, doesn't need to get into the darker...
No, it's not that it's easy. No, it's not easy. It's just very authentic. And the truth is that those girls in this office, they are not involved in any of the things, the politics that happens outside. Right. It's just like if you go to like a big company here in America and you see the secretary's room, they don't sit and do the big decisions. They serve the people that make the decisions.
So it's really only interested in these characters' perspective, and these people are not seeing combat.
So why? It's like a strange question, because it would be, I don't know, if you're making a film about, someone that's living in the city and has a job and has to work hard. So you say, why are you not looking at the rich people that are living in the penthouses? I don't know, because this is what the movie's focused about. It doesn't, I think that the key to a good film actually is being personal and specific about what you want to say, and not trying to get the whole world inside that 90 minutes, or I'm not sure how many minutes our film is, but actually it would be superficial. And I think what's also deep about it is that through that microcosmos of what Talya said, of this kind of what's going on there, says a lot about society and says a lot about what we sometimes really feel doing our small things and minding our own business while there is something very huge and scary going on outside. But once you live this life, like Talya said, it's our reality ever since we were born. So yeah, sometimes you care about just being moved to a better place and just trying to be the best at that video game or that computer game that you want to break a record, because that's sometimes how you survive.
So what's next for you guys? What's going to be your next film? What are you working on that we can hear about next?
Well, I'm working on a new script now. It's still in development, so it's going to take time, I guess, until the film is ready. And we are now here in New York. We're very excited towards the release of the film here. And I don't know if you mentioned, but it's going to open in Film Forum on December 3rd. And we're really looking forward to see American audience coming to see our film.
We hope they'll react like they did in Tribeca, which was amazing.
Which they loved it.
Which they loved it. They laughed like they know exactly what the army's like, and we were very excited. We actually went to 4 screenings of the film just to see the response of the audience, because it was also always different and always interesting.
And you, Dana, where are you going to keep your Israeli Academy Award?
Where am I going to keep it?
She has 3. She has 3.
I have 3. I guess somewhere in my house. I used to give them all to my grandma, but she passed away now, so I'll have to find a place.
And for you, what's the next thing on your horizon?
My next thing is actually my album that is going to come out when I come
Music?
back to Israel. Yeah, music.
What do you do in music?
I make it and I write it, and then and it's ready now.
Wow, Mamash, superstar.
Maybe you need to put now a song of Dana after this interview.
I'm gonna get one.
I can have one.
Okay, you guys will hear one of Dana Igvy's songs to take us out. So thank you, Dana, musician, actress, award-winning talent. Thank you, Talya, Lavie, the director of the film. The film is Zero Motivation. It's opening on the 3rd in Film Forum. I hope all of our listeners check it out. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.